Hi there, my name's Eric Wordweaver Sjerven, Goldie of the Ridgar folk here in East Texas. I'd like to welcome you to the Raven's Call. This is my little Heathenry podcast where I get to kind of ramble on about heathen-related subjects that strike my fancy. Recently, I did a video on heathen names and kind of how I feel about them. It's just my personal opinion. You can go back and watch that video to kind of get my take on heathen names. Suffice it to say, I'm not super in favor of them. I get and understand them. I don't necessarily feel negatively about people that use them. But today I want to talk to you about a different kind of name, something that I am more in favor of than, say, a heathen name, where you come in, your name is, John Doe, but you want to be known as, Thorbob the Mighty. Okay, let's focus a little bit on that name, though, Thorbob the Mighty. There is a part of that name that does ring true and that does strike with me, and that is the mighty. This is a deed name, a byname, something that a person is known by. It doesn't supplant the given name, but rather it augments the given name. Okay? Take, for example, my own. I'm Eric Wordweaver Sjerven. Wordweaver's obviously not my given middle name. My given middle name is Randall. I'm proud of that because it's my father's middle name, and it's a piece of pride in me. It's a gift from him to me. Wordweaver was given to me by my tribe, largely because I like to run off at the mouth. I'm loquacious to a fault, to quote the bard, and I love to tell stories. And it was during my time up at LATP, Lightning Across the Plains, a large heathen gathering in the Midwest, which is unfortunately no longer around, but during its time, I became somewhat known for my storytelling, hence why I've got my other podcast, the Weaving Words, which is where I tell stories and I share the art of storytelling with people. And I greatly enjoy that. So I got the name Wordweaver as a result. It was one that was posited, threw out there, my tribe loved it, and so it got tagged onto me. The rest of the heathen community kind of grabbed onto that, and now it's not uncommon for me to walk among certain people that know me, and that know me by this name, and they'll just call me Wordweaver. They don't even bother with the rest of my name. They just say, hey, Wordweaver, what's going on? Because it fits, it sets. Now here's the thing about deed names. Deed names are based on either an identifiable characteristic or something the person has done, okay? Some kind of descriptive moniker that helps to differentiate them from others, You can, in the olden days, in old Norse culture, in old heathen culture, naming schema were a little bit different. You didn't necessarily have family names all the time. A lot of times people were named either after their vocation or their location. A lot of places, a lot of people would end up with a surname once surnames were kind of adopted. That was like an en suffix was added on to a location or a descriptive location, and it means the folk of, There's several references to this throughout the lore you can find. But one of the things you'll find in the sagas, especially if you go back and look at Heimskringla, if you look at the Icelandic sagas, is the use of deed names or bynames. And this is, again, something that is descriptive of these people. If you look at Ragnar Lothbrok, famous character of somewhat dubious origin. There's some thought that there may be some historical basis of Ragnar Lothbrok, but ultimately speaking, I think it's fairly well accepted that most of the stories pertaining to Ragnar are actually an amalgamation of other stories of heroes and individuals at the time that are given to this mythic figure. And then, of course, there's the sons of Ragnar. You've got things like Ivar the Boneless or Sigurd Snakeeye, and these are things that are descriptive of these individuals. Let's look at one of the ones that's probably the most famous as far as being plastered all throughout the lore, and this is going to be an individual who made himself extremely famous throughout the North, and that is Harald Fairhair, or Harald Haarfagr. And Harald was known for this because Harald set out to unite Norway under single rulership. Now, this is something that, depending on which side of it, was either a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not here to judge all that, but Harald, when he set out to unite Norway under a single rulership, indicated that he would not cut his hair, comb his hair, wash his hair, until he had done so. This was an oath that he made. And so the story goes, whether or not there's truth to it, it's debatable, but the story goes that he didn't. He let his hair grow, he let it get matted and dirty, and he never tended to his hair until after he had indeed united Norway under single rulership. Debatable as to how united it was or how complete the rulership was, but nonetheless, when he felt like he had completed his task and fulfilled his oath, he then washed his hair, cut his hair, and styled it again, and then suddenly he was known for his fair hair because he earned it. It was an active deed. It was something that he did, and so he got the deed name Fair Hair. There are a number of them. One of them, Magnus the Bearleg, is one that I find fairly interesting. Magnus the Bearleg, one that was supposedly tied to my family tree, thanks to the research done by my great uncle Melvin Sjerven. Miss him, he was awesome. But Magnus the Bearleg was known as the Bearleg for a couple of reasons, and we're not sure which of these is the more accurate. The more negative view is that he was known as the Bearleg for running barefoot from battle. But everything else that I've been able to turn up, the more favorable side of things, is that he's known as Magnus the Bearleg because he was one of the few kings of Norway that chose to wear a kilt on the regular and was known for going into battle with bare legs. This was kind of a neat thing. It's a descriptive moniker that sets him aside from any other Magnus at the time. If you look at Grettir the Strong, he's known for his great strength, his great size. These names carry some weight because they have meaning behind them, because they're a gift, they're a recognition, an honorific that are bestowed by the people. It's not necessarily something the person takes on themselves. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's something that they step out and say, I am this. But because it fits so well, it's adopted, and it fits. And it's okay. You know, it's one of those things that it gives a flavor to the name and an honorific. It's a term of endearment, almost. And these things are incredible. So for people that are looking to kind of heathenize their names, I would recommend the use of deed names or bynames. I mean, if you look at even our gods and goddesses going through, Odin has so many different names. He's One-Eye, he's Grimnir, he's Har, he's Harbard. He's got all these different bynames that mean different things, and they're descriptive. They describe the role that he plays in the story. And if you look at Thor, he's known as the Thunderer, Redbeard, Mjolnir's Bearer, Jotun's Bane. He's got all of these different names that associate with him because they're descriptive of him. And when someone speaks of the Thunderer, you know who they're talking about because it just fits. The same thing is what we apply to ourselves. So this is something that I thought the greater heathen community could play with. I know a lot of people are looking to kind of heathenize their name, and this is a great way to do it. Work with your tribes, work with each other, and find bynames, deed names that work for each other, and then use them. Let people know that this is this guy, this is Harold the Shield Bearer, this is, Bjorn Ironsides, Invincible. Use these names and embrace them. Enjoy them. It's fun. Does it bear a whole lot of weight as far as the religious side of things go? No. This is a cultural smattering of just aesthetic, if anything else. It gives that flair that people are searching and need. That sense of, Vikingness, for lack of a better term. Not a huge fan of the over-Vikingization of heathenry. Viking times were just a small portion of heathen times. But still, I know a lot of people like to pull from that aesthetic. And the part that kind of hurts for me is to watch people eschew their given names, eschew their family names, these things that bear orlog, that bear weight, that bear value, kick them to the side and take on some, Thorbob name, because it's more Viking. You can have that little splash of culture in the name without abandoning those other things. You can have a deed name, you can have a by name that you can embrace, and that can be a part of you, can be a part of your individual culture, your tribal culture. And ultimately speaking, it doesn't matter what the rest of greater heathenry thinks. It only matters what works for you and your Inengad, what works for you and your tribe. If you like it within the tribe, if it fits and you enjoy it with each other, do it. It's fine. It's part of culture. You know, is it historically accurate? Sure. It's backed by all kinds of historical data as far as Bynames and deed names go. That's fine. Is it necessary? Nah, it's not necessary. It wasn't necessary then. It's not necessary now. But we like it, we enjoy it, and it's a great way to show honor to one another, to recognize each other for deeds that are done. But if you're going to do it, make it count, you know? Don't make it just, you know, he likes to paint, so he's honor to the painter, you know? Make it something grand, you know, something that you can be known for. Something, the more that you put into it, the more you have to work for it, the greater the accomplishment, the greater the honor that comes with the name. You don't have to have just one, but you're probably going to end up with one that you're really known for. So, embrace it, do something that's worth recognizing, bring honor to your tribe, bring honor to your family name, and then wear the byname, wear the deed name as a badge of honor. You've earned it. There's nothing wrong with that. Thank you guys for watching today. If you liked today's video, hit like on the video. Throw a comment down in the section below. Do you have a deed name? Do you have a byname that you go by? Let me know. Let me know the story behind it. I love to hear these things. I love to see people embracing their heathen culture and bringing it into the modern era. Let me know your story. I love to hear those things. Do you have a particular opinion regarding these? Throw it out there. Let's see what you have to say. I'm always willing to listen. Check out the Facebook group, Word Weaver Productions. It's Word-Weaver Productions. This is the Facebook group where I throw up all of these videos. I also throw up the videos from my other podcast, my storytelling podcast, Weaving Words. And this is one where I share stories that I've told, that I'm writing, that I've experienced, or different folk tales, God tales from the lore. It tries to breathe life into the storytelling element of our culture that I find is getting lost in modern society. So hit subscribe on the channel if you want to keep up to date with what's going on. Hit that little bell so that you get the notification. The more you interact with my videos on YouTube, the more you're going to see other heathen related videos pop up from other content providers. And I like to see a lot of movement in this, sharing information, things like that. So jump up in there. Let me know what's going on. You can also follow me on Twitter at Eric_Sjerven. That's Eric, ERIC _SJERVEN. That's brand new. I'm just playing with it, but I figured, hey, it's one more point of contact. So check me out on there. In the meantime, you guys have a good one. Hail.